I think it also, talking about the fine margins, football changes almost by every event. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. This is Taiwan Ojobi, your host on Lanona's Maple Sports. We like to bring a lot of unfiltered opinion, sharp analysis as on big love for the Premier League, Champions League, and Canadian hoops and ice. Today, I'm so excited. I have a couple of good friends with me. For a couple of weeks, they've been making it count, and I don't take it for granted. This is 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and before we dive into each one of the matches that we played in Champions League, I'd like to say, today is a good day. Take a chance, want some more, be amazing, and try to pursue your passion. Naturally, it looks like a lot of leagues are closing down. Champions League is getting to the heated part where the boys are now finally being separated from the men. And, it comes down to who is going to be the winner, who is going to be the one that has more balls to be able to push things, to the end. The Hockey League is also rounding up next week. By next week, most leagues already know who is going into the postseason. And since the Champions League will continue to extend for a bit, it's going to get clear from next week where we're going. Crespo, Emmanuel, Joshua, just say a quick hi, then we can just dive right into the Champions League and talk about other aspects of football.
Hi, everyone. Good to be back. Happy Friday. And excited to talk about this week's Champions League games, which I think was a really good show and advertisement for proper, good football.
Exactly. Okay,
Yeah,
Mano.
yeah. Okay, Mano.
Happy to be here, man. Happy to be here again. It's been a while since we last had a podcast, so happy to come back again to discuss football. It's been a bit.
I think we had international break, so I just decided
exactly international break, and
Crespo was in faraway United States,
enjoying his life.
He went to have a meeting with.
He brought no souvenirs for nothing. He came back. He came back empty-handed. Right? See what he came back, but it's all good.
Send me back, then send me back to the States.
Send you back.
Stuffs. Yeah.
You take money and go back now. Why I send you back with my own money?
Okay, I think we'll just dive right into, the couple of matches. I call this more of, the heavyweights are in the ones, that are really, digging it out. And Real Madrid versus Bayern was a very high tension match. Even though it was just the first leg and this was played in Spain, I expected a bit more. Madrid started very slowly. And, looking at some of the analysis that I put down, because I wanted to be a bit intentional about it, they have advanced in 12 of 13 UEFA Champions League ties after winning the first leg away. That's for Bayern Munich. So there's a very high chance that they're going to get it done in the second leg. But the funniest part is Madrid has succeeded, I think, 7 out of 8 times at this level of the Champions League. But most of those times was when Ronaldo was still there. They've always had a way against this Bayern Munich team. So there are a lot of things that are either working in their favor or not working in their favor. But these high-level European clashes is never really predictable. You never can tell what will happen in the second leg. What I just put down in my analysis for the second leg is whether Bayern can sustain that for 90 minutes, we're definitely going to see how it goes. Madrid, most likely they can fix some of their issues because they started a bit slowly, but later they caught up and they were able to just have just one goal to show for it. But I'll just allow Joshua jump at it first. What do you think about Madrid Bayern Munich generally with their performance? What does the result really mean to you?
What does the result really mean? I think the result really means that it just emphasizes what we know about Real Madrid in Champions League. And I watched the game, and for how good Bayern Munich were, they didn't kill off Real Madrid. And again, that's usually the challenge and the concern Real Madrid is that if you watch the game, Bayern was so good, I could have wrapped up the game, could have killed off the game, but for some reason, Real Madrid was still in the game. And that's been the theme of Real Madrid all through the years, and even this season and previous season is like, they are not necessarily a good team in terms of the cohesiveness of the team, but it's because they hang in long enough in games for their individual performances or talents to show up. So the challenge with Real Madrid is that they will be so terrible as a team, but you still find out that they're still in the game, right? And look at this Bayern Munich game. I mean, the scoreline does not really tell the story. In fact, if Real Madrid were able to put a lot of their chances away, Vinicius and Mbappé, the scoreline could have been a totally different game. It could have been 2-2. It could have been, even Madrid could have won. But again, if you watch the game on the balance of play, you know that Bayern were clearly the better team. But for some reason, Real Madrid just still stays in the game and remain alive in the game due to the individual talents they have, the performances they have. And you know that at any point in time, any one of them can turn up and just change the game, change the atmosphere. And they were playing at home. So it's going to be a challenge. I still think Bayern Munich would go through. That's what my head tells me. But again, as we've seen oftentimes in the Champions League and the Real Madrid, is that you just never can tell. You just never know, right? We've seen them win the Champions League multiple times. People team, why not being the top 3 best teams in the competition? But somehow they can just grind out those wins and in knockout football, they can just proceed and move to the next round. So Bayern going again, and this is the first time Bayern Munich beaten Real Madrid at home in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
So
Very long.
that's a positive and a good result. It's still a good win any day, anytime. They still have the upper end. But again, if you were to ask Kompany, the coach of Bayern, he would have preferred to have a much more healthy lead going into Bayern, going into Germany for the second leg. But again, you just know it's almost like that animal just still roaring his head, like refusing to die, right? They are the kind of team where you can't just knock them down. You have to kill them. You have to make sure they are dead, check that they are dead, so they don't spiral again. But I think it's made for an interesting second leg. I think Real Madrid know they're going to go all out. Bayern Munich know they're going to go all out. So, and the thing with Bayern Munich also is, if you watch the game against Real Madrid is, and this has been their problem all through the year and even all through Kompany's reign, is they start very well, but they don't finish very well. They always lose steam in the middle to the end. If you can remember the Arsenal game they played earlier in this season also, that was similar thing. They started well. And also, Bayern Munich hardly keep a clean sheet. They concede a lot. And again, that might be due to the way they play. You know, they're always high line, front footing. And you can see how many times Manuel came to act as a sweeper keeper even in this game, right? There was a chance that Vinicius had one-on-one that Noah did really well. It just shows you that in as much as for how good they were against Real Madrid, they could have considered at least 3 goals easily. Easy, without Real Madrid being a good team or being at their best. So that's the challenge with Bayern Munich. And on the opposite, for like teams like Arsenal that are very good defensively, that's just the concern for me for Bayern Munich is they would always concede. And knowing the kind of firepower that Real Madrid has in the second leg, Bayern would need to score a lot of goals and concede less, or if they can score 1 or 2 and don't concede, which again, I don't see that happening due to their history. But again, it's going to be an interesting second leg. I think Bayern Munich would go through, but again, I won't be surprised if Real Madrid go. I wouldn't put my money against Real Madrid.
Yeah. I think what I was able to draw from this is similar to the Russian mafia outlook. I watched a movie where the Russians will go and kill somebody and they'll take a doctor with them. So after shooting the person, they ask the doctor, please confirm if he's dead. So the doctor will confirm and give his own report that he's dead before they go. So that's exactly how you have to do with Madrid. You have to make sure they die. If not, they can rise again. So, Emmanuel, I want you to give me this different outlook. Looking at that match, I saw that Valverde was a bit different because Mbappé has been injured up until this stage. And Mbappé has come back. Does it affect Valverde's productivity or creativity as a result of Mbappé coming back? What do you think?
Well, I would think it might, because I think the game where Valverde really flourished against the Man City, Mbappé wasn't in that game. So now that Mbappé is coming back, I would think that it will affect his productivity, because he wouldn't pop in those positions where he was popping up, places you see a player like Mbappé showing up to take advantage of passes and score goals, right? So at the end of the day, the coach just needs to figure out how he get everyone playing their best football. Like, I never heard of Valverde scoring a hat-trick before since he joined them, since his time at Real Madrid. And I think the game after that one, he also scored a couple goals.
Yeah.
So it's something the coach just needs to work out. I know he's still a young coach and still has maybe a short time to spend in Real Madrid. So he needs to work out how he plays everybody so that people get to play their best game. I know Bellingham has also been injured. He's just coming back into the team gradually. So there's still, I would think that he needs to figure out how he would get everyone playing their best game, because clearly Valverde was, when I watched the game briefly on against Bayern, I saw he was a bit uncomfortable where he was playing. He wasn't popping up in those places where he popped up to score those goals in Man City. He didn't have that freedom to roam around a bit, to get to where he could score those goals. Something that I think the coach needs to figure out.
Crespo, can you give us your 3 cents?
Actually, from anybody who analyzes Real Madrid, you know that they are struggling with the balance of that team.
Yeah.
They have been unable to play Vini and Mbappe at their best together. However, like Joshua said, Bayern they've given Madrid a second chance, and anything can happen on a second chance. I think the second leg really it will be determined on who comes to the party. If Bayern are unable to play the way they played at the Bernabeu, I think Madrid might just nick it again. The sheer quality of Vini and Mbappe, you don't mess around with those guys. But the fact that Bayern concedes a lot of goal. But all in all, I would expect Bayern to go ahead. They've got a better team. I hope and I believe they would come to the party at Allianz Arena on Wednesday. And if they come to the party, I don't think Madrid has a chance. The same Madrid we're discussing today could not beat Girona earlier today. So
At home, and they were
what
at
are we
home,
talking
right?
about? Yeah, they were at
Yeah.
home. So again, Madrid for me, it's not even when they won the games they won, we're always like, hey, what are these opponents doing? These guys are here for the taking, but if you don't do that, they punish you. So I think the game between Bayern and Real Madrid is just the classic narrative of a team against individuals. Let's see who can carry the day. The team, Bayern, or the individuals, Vini and Mbappe in the second leg. Yeah. So we're looking forward to that. Again, if Bayern sleeps, like I always say, if you allow Real Madrid to dance, they will dance well. They just need to play their own game, be that good team that they were or that they have been, and as much as possible be on the front foot. And I don't think Real Madrid has anything to offer. So, but if you give them the chance, they'll go ahead. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah. I think it also, talking about the fine margins, football changes almost by every event, changing of event, decision making that you just take across board. And moving on to Sporting and Arsenal, that was some people called it a very boring match, but I don't think I agree. I like what I saw from Sporting. They look like a team that is well coached. They came very hot. They missed a lot of chances. They were strong at home. As much as I don't like to say that Arsenal has just come back from a back-to-back loss of matches and they needed to quickly fix a couple of stuff. And I tried to compare the Arsenal team that played Bayern Munich a couple of
At the
months back
beginning,
to the
yeah.
Arsenal that the Saka was doing well at that time. But the Saka that I'm seeing now, it's not even anything close. So I'm just trying to look at the big picture. Even if they're able to get out of this, do you think they can beat some of the other heavyweights when they get out of this situation? But let's just keep that. So it's just about the tactics and looking at that emotional regulation. A lot of people are very emotional about the fact that the goal that came for us now came at a very delicate time. When everybody had given up, you will notice that there was a last-minute energy. They thought that they were going to draw that match. But before we go further, let me just give Emmanuel the opportunity to chime in on this Arsenal, stealing that 1-0 win in Portugal. What do you
What a way
think?
to win a game. It's always good to win a game at the last minute. When you know that the opponent cannot score again, just win the game on, right? That's the first time to score it. I mean that game was. I mean, a lot of people said it was boring, like you said, Taiwo, right? But I don't agree. It was boring. It was more Sporting to score, to come out and attack because they were the home team, right? And to be fair, they've been doing well at home. I understand they've not lost in the last 7. They won the last 17 games at home.
Yeah.
In the game, and they even beat PSG, the same PSG that is beating them, Liverpool. They beat PSG, in the Champions League. So they've been doing very well. So they're not a small team. When people say Arsenal should have beaten them easily, it's not that easy, right? You're talking about the Champions League here. These are the best teams in the world, right?
And this Sporting lost some top players.
Right?
Coming into this season, they lost some top players now.
That's Sporting, right? Yeah, you're correct.
How they're able to galvanize those guys and bring them back to this level.
So they
It's a
lost
big
top
surprise
players. They've gone through some kind of change, right? And it's impressive to see where they're at in their league and how they're doing in the Champions League as well. I mean, it was a game that I knew was tough because when I looked at their record at home, I knew it was going to be a tough game against them, Arsenal. And to be fair, they tried. They could have scored the first 10 minutes of that game.
Remember
They
the
had
save from Raya?
that save from Raya was late. Raya just. That guy has been a blessing to us now, to be honest.
This season, I agree.
That fingertip pushed it to the bar. It was just glorious to see.
There's one guy too that hit the bar and came out.
Yeah, there was not around 80 minutes that he would have scored from the side. With his left hand, he caught it. That was another clear goal too. These are things that if you had missed them, you wouldn't be saying Raya is a bad keeper, right? But he was able to stop those goals. So thanks to Raya, we were able to remain in the game till the 90th minute when we then scored that goal. And again, the big players always show up on big occasions, right? So I think that's what happened. Arsenal held true. through the game. And to be fair, like your point, Taiwo, looking at the Arsenal that played Bayern Munich some months ago, Saka wasn't in that game. He has been injured since. Timber wasn't in that game. Timber has been injured as well. Who else that was there? I think those
Eze
are
wasn't.
Eze too.
Yes.
So
Eze has been injured. I think that's why he couldn't
yeah.
play.
Yeah.
So we have some key players missing in Arsenal, right? Even the defense as well. It was Calafrio that started, or it was Calafrio started, right? But I think that game we had Hincapie. I can't remember who played left back in that game. So
Even
Arsenal,
I think they had to take out Odegaard and bring in Havertz.
exactly. So
78 minutes.
So the Arsenal attack has not been clicking very well lately, and I would say it's because of the injuries we've had in that area of the pitch. Odegaard has been out; he's just coming back on, right? And he wasn't even training today. He didn't train today. I don't know what's up with him again. Hope he's fine. Eze is now out. Havertz was out. He came back, went out again. Saka has been on and off this season. Trossard has been on and off as well. He just came back recently. So that's front four, front five. They're going through lots of things going on. Right? That's why you can't be in form when you keep on going out.
Yeah.
One player comes in, another one goes out. Merino too has been out for 3 to 4 months now. Right, we don't know when he's going to come back. So that's the issue with that Arsenal attack. Are they going to get into form anytime soon? I don't know. Maybe the next 3 to 5 weeks, probably we'll see a different Arsenal attack, right? Because when all these players come back, hopefully they have some time to even, play together and get used to each other once again. But that's just the issue. That's not the only stable thing is just the defense. Even the defense too has gone through changes as well. Saliba was out. He just came back on recently. Hincapie is out right now. Timber is out. Rice missed the game at Southampton that we lost. The whole team is just going through these injuries. It's just crazy, man. Too many games to play, fatigue is setting and things like that. So players are getting tired and things like that. But hopefully that gets to settle down soon. But back to the game, it was good to see Arsenal still that 1-0 win. Now we're going back to Emirates with the win. Even though 1-0 is not a lot, to be honest. Anything can happen the first 10 minutes of that game. They can get a red card or someone can just score a goal and it becomes 1-1 and becomes the game on again. So hopefully we can maintain our composure and see how the results next week at the Emirates.
Okay. Before I bounce back to Crespo, just to give us your own sense, I think my own opinion is I got information that Rice will be available for the second leg. I'll probably just want him to have a combination of Rice and Zubimendi, keeping that double pivot, going and start Havertz instead this time. You understand? Instead of bringing him as a weapon towards the end. I think I prefer him to start Havertz. But hopefully, he's able to get his...
Odegaard.
I want him to start Havertz this time. Odegaard, I'm not sure it's 100%.
Over Odegaard or Gyökeres? So who would you bench?
Yeah, I just want Havertz starting. And I don't care how he does it.
You don't care where he starts, even if it's defense.
Anyway, just put Havertz there because, if this game ends in a 0-0, that's good. But Havertz is the only weapon and he's the only person that I can see the fire in his face. Crespo, give us your 2 cents. Let's see what you think.
Yeah, I just think Arsenal is going through that phase. Losing those 2 games back to back is not. Has really dampened their confidence. However, I don't want to give them the slack. They have had the best squad that we've spoken about all season. So that they have injuries now what's the essence of the squad? If you say you have a good squad and yeah, so again, I don't want to give them because that would be an excuse when they lose to PSG or lose to somebody else. No, if you are going to get the big prize, you have to really step up. And again, we expect a lot more from Arsenal. That was not a good performance from Arsenal. Sporting had loads of chances to nick the win, but however, that's a sign also of what the Champions League looks like when the jungle is getting matured. So it's not really about having chances; it's what you do with the chances. So Arsenal have done what they should do with the ball and ball is in the back of the net. I think we'll see the same kind of game in the second leg, and Arsenal will maybe take a one goal lead and and they win the game. But my fear again, which also could be wrong, is to be looking beyond the game on Tuesday, or is it Wednesday? I think Arsenal plays on Tuesday.
Wednesday.
It would be wrong for me to look beyond Wednesday and be thinking, oh, probably they are meeting Atletico or Barcelona. And again, Arsenal is on the easiest side of the pot. So if they mess things up, I don't know. I don't want to give them any excuses, So if the draws were to favor anyone, it favored Arsenal all through. So they should be picking up the required win. Whichever way, ugly, beautiful, they should get the required win. So,
but then you favor them because they did their work in the group stages, right? They won all their matches. That's why they were at that position where they can.
Not necessarily. What if, for instance, you had Real Madrid falling that was playing badly on your side, or the big boys who played the not so good guys. But what if you had a PSG like the last season? Those who played so well all through the league, the first phase of the Champions League, and face PSG, the likes of Liverpool. So again, if you're on the side of the pot that's got an advantage, you have to take it. That's what football gives you. Again, like Chelsea was able to win the Club World Cup, they had the easier side of the pot. So, and they got to the final and they did what they had to do. So I'm saying if things are working for you based on the where you find yourself, the opponents you're facing, you have to take advantage, Unlike when you are going to have to play Bayern, you play the next possible option is a Real Madrid. It's tougher. You played Leverkusen, you are playing Sporting, you have one of the best squad. You have to take advantage of that. Again, I don't know what Arteta is doing in training with these guys. The injuries I think are way too similar. It's not like they are tearing ankles or Achilles. It's muscle injuries. And once you have those muscle injuries, you are going to 2-3 weeks out of the game.
Yeah.
What are they doing in training? They taking it too far that they're not even available to play. So again, that's one of the questions I would want to ask Arsenal. But again, I think Arsenal should go ahead. But my fear is can they go the next step.
Joshua, you want to just chime in on that before we move on?
Yeah, I'm a bit indifferent about Arsenal. I think what they've done is how we usually praise the great Champions League away performance of yesteryears, going there to get a 1-0 win. And like you said, Sporting have been in a good form. And also we know that at this stage of the season, you can see even from how Arsenal played that right now it's all about the results.
Yeah.
That's how they're approaching this last stretch of the season in terms of going there and just getting the job done. If this game was earlier in the season when Arsenal were playing free-flowing football, we know how they would have probably played well to look more beautiful on the eye. But right now, Arsenal just need to get the job done, right? And again, they needed to win in any way, fashion, or form following the last two losses that they've had, where they also didn't play great. So going to Sporting was all about getting that win, making sure they get back on track and finish the season in a good way. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out for now. But again, I think Arsenal would do well to finish the league, win the league, and see how far they can go in Champions League. I think they would eventually come through Sporting. Second leg might be tough, but Sporting are also a good side. Like they're good. They play good football also, but I just think Arsenal would probably edge it, and to be interested to see they play in the next round. I really wanted an Arsenal Barcelona because I thought that would be like a good game for the neutrals. I thought that would be very beautiful to see. But also, Arsenal Atletico Madrid might be interesting in terms of it may be interesting for different reasons. In terms of I see like it will be two defensive masterclass games. We see from both and Arteta, who are very good, who are both solid defensively. So again, that might be a very interesting game, but we'll see how it goes. But I think right now Arsenal are focusing on the task at hand and are doing the best they can.
That's a good one. Hopefully, Arsenal is able to keep it. But I like the defensive structure coming from Sporting. They probably just how can you just allow that ball go directly to Havertz and only him in the box? He had a good first touch and that was just it. And that changed the narratives. I believe that they'll be able to keep that defensive structure in second leg, but let's see how it goes. Looking at what happened in Spain, Barcelona Atletico were meeting for the second time in as many days as possible. I think second time in like 4 days. And Atletico needed to be a bit more strategic. But the game did not start until the 42nd minute when the red card came, and it changed everything. This is the history of a game where everything just begins to change in one sequence.
Yeah.
After the red card, they just scored 2 goals and that was the end.
Yeah.
And Atletico was a masterclass. They took advantage of that weakness and it was clearly, their day. Crespo, just give us your 2 cents on, how do you think Atletico approached it from your own view?
Yeah, they approached it like Atletico would have approached it, having lost the game in La Liga. So coming into
against the same team.
It's against the same team. So they did all they could to avoid a loss. And also this was the first time they were winning at the Nou Camp in a long time. Or in fact, I think that was Simeone's first win at the Nou
First
Camp.
ever win in camp, yeah.
Yeah,
he hardly wins the Nou Camp.
Yeah,
It's his first win in camp now.
Yeah, so interesting times between those two teams. And again, if you remember during I think the Copa del Rey, Barcelona losing 4-0 at Atletico's house, then going back to Nou Camp and won 3-0. So, but this time around, they are losing 2-0 at home. Can they try to pull off a remontada at Atletico? Let's see how that goes. But again, Atletico, we know they're very defensive. But again, I feel even with the way they were defensive, with a man down, they could not even. I didn't see them play. It felt like Barcelona even had 2 players extra. But however, they could not use the fact that they had a lot of that possession against Atletico. So again, kudos to Atletico. Just like Joshua said, we are giving kudos to Atletico and not giving kudos to Arsenal for grinding a defensive win or a not so interesting style of play. Or probably it's because of the expectations we have of Arsenal versus the expectations we have of Atletico. So again, good one for Atletico. Hopefully they don't get again, Atletico can concede for I don't know. I can't even with the 2 goals advantage, I'm not sure I see Atletico outrightly, just winning the game, because even in that game, Barcelona had a lot of chances, but for some reasons they just couldn't bury Rashford, Yamal. Oh, come on, Yamal was interesting to watch that day.
Phenomenal.
I was
He
like,
didn't get enough help. That guy's a
yeah,
superstar.
So my
No
point is
help.
like, if they allow these guys get in the groove in the second leg, I think they might score 2 goals. Then we'll now have the proper game to see how it will end. So I still think it's open because Atletico, for me, I
Consider
can't.
a lot.
Yeah, they concede a lot. So.
Yeah.
Joshua, before you jump on this, I just wanted to put this my own form of a perspective. Did you notice the nominal shape? Because immediately after they scored those 2 goals, Diego Simeone moved from 4-4-2 to 4-4-1-1. Griezmann had to come back for Álvarez to stay in front.
Mm-hmm.
So Griezmann was most likely playing in a supporting role, so that we're able to have 4 defenders. You have Lookman and Giuliano Simeone, you had Molina and Ruggeri, then you now have, Dimitri Coque Lorente, as in masterclass for me. I want you to just chime in that in your view as well. So take it from here.
Yeah, I mean, and it's typical. It's typical Simeone in terms of knowing that you're gonna have less of the ball and knowing that
Exactly.
Barca was still keeping their high line. So Griezmann is better on the ball in terms of connecting. So he dropping deep and then releasing. So Andre Sørloth, who has also been good in Champions League this year, he scored like a lot of vital goals. And yeah, it's just typical. And also how the game panned out is very interesting because, as you will know, and also I was listening to Thierry Henry talk about this the match, is how you can legislate for a lot of things in football, right? But the only thing you cannot predict or legislate for is a red card.
It's true.
Going into that game, I mean, 11-11, the game was balanced, everything was going well, but I mean, you cannot just legislate for like someone will get a red card. And of course, it just changed the whole dynamics of the game. And of course, it didn't even help Barcelona by then. Few minutes later, like conceding from that wonderful free kick by Julian Álvarez, by the way. And all of a sudden, tactics has gone out of the window. Every preparation you've had for it, like it just goes out of the window when you get a red card, because then you have to make a substitution. Like everything just scatters. And is that something you really can legislate for in football? But again, Atletico Madrid did really well to get those 2 goals, and they were 2 wonderfully taken goals. And again, they did what they would do really in terms of just making sure they don't concede and take that 2-goal advantage into second leg. But again, Barcelona had a lot of chances also, even when they were 10 men down. Like Crespo said, it looked like they didn't even have a red card. The way they played, the way Lamine Yamal, what a talent. Best player in the world, best teenager. I mean, for he's just 18. It's some of the things he was doing in that game, carrying the whole team on his back. A lot of the outside lefts that he was giving to Rashford, so all of them. Rashford had 2 good chances he should have scored. 2 good chances. The one where he tried to dribble the keeper. The other one where, 2 good chances that he should have scored. Again, it's just Lamine Yamal. I can't overemphasize like his importance and how good of a player he is. He's really so good. But again, I think the game is still open. I think it's still balanced. I think Barcelona will go into that second leg believing that they can score, that they can win. And I think they just need to score the first goal, right? Throw the cats among the pigeons of Atletico Madrid and let everywhere scatter. They get that first goal, just to, if they almost did it in the Copa del Rey when they were 4 down, and if there's anything this Barcelona side can do is score a lot of goals. Again, let's see how that plays out, because like we know in football, anything is possible. But it's been interesting to see what happened in the second leg. I will still give Barcelona a chance. And just because Atletico Madrid are just, and maybe Diego Simeone is just one of the most unluckiest managers in world football. Right? Champions League, in terms of everything. So when you think he's on the break, when you think it's his time to shine, something just happens.
happens. Yeah.
And Madrid has always been his problem. Madrid has always been his
Madrid,
problem.
right?
So you just never know with Atletico Madrid, right? But again, it was a wonderful game to watch. To watch especially Lamine Yamal, who was sensational. And I think the second leg would be interesting. I guess that first goal is critical. It's important.
Yeah.
And also when that goal comes in, Atletico Madrid gets the first goal, it eases them into the game. It settles them down. They will be able to play around and then play with less pressure a bit, because that's 3 goals up. If Barca scores the first goal, then all
Game
of a
on.
sudden, you know what it means.
Yeah.
And just change the momentum of the game. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But again, I guess this is why we love football. This is why we love the Champions League. This is why we love the knockout stages when we get to the later stages of Champions League, because anything can happen, and fortunately only one team can win.
Yeah, that's true. And unfortunately, we're at a time where even Atletico, we can't vouch for them not conceding at home, because the Metropolitano has not really been a fortress. As far as I'm concerned, they concede a lot of goals even at home. Emmanuel, do you agree with Joshua, on this aspect of it, or you have another view?
Well, I mean, I agree completely. The game is still, Barca can score you 3, 4, 5 goals anywhere in the world, right?
Anyway, yeah.
Before you know it, just entirely.
So you wouldn't overrule Barca. You wouldn't underscore Barca at this point in time. That I think they can still come back from a 2-goal deficit wherever it is they're playing, because it just takes one goal, like Joshua said. Once the first goal goes in from Barca, and that's it, you know that it's going to be a long night for Atletico Madrid. But let's see how it goes. I mean, the game of this week was a game where they didn't expect Atletico to win. Maybe expected a draw or a Barca win, because I mean Barca is playing at home, right? But what happened. That's not what I think Joshua said. The red card just changed the game completely. You don't plan. Maybe you plan for those things, but you don't expect them to happen every time, right? So one of those things where it happens and you're like, wow, today of all days, whenever I feel like, why today? Why not? The game where we don't need to win. So it just happened on that day, and it just turned out that it was a very bad day for Barca. But even at that, I think they still played very well on the day. They still played very well. They had more shots than Atletico on the day, and they still attacked very, very well. So they could have scored 1 or 2 goals if things had gone their way. Rashford missed a lot of chances. It was shocking sometimes that Rashford was missing. First for Lamine Yamal, like I feel for the guy. Like, think the fact that this guy is just 18 years old, doing all this work and not getting results from his teammates. It was quite disappointing from them. But it's what it is. When you have a red card, it changes everybody's mentality in the game. Everybody now goes to survival mode. Just like slots, the survival mode. When you get a red card, you don't want to concede too many goals, right?
Yeah.
So it's just what it is. But in the next game, I see a tough game coming up. Again, the only thing is that it's at Atletico's home. So if Atletico can hold for and score the first goal, then you know that Barca is done. But let's see how it goes. I mean, you just can't predict these sort of games, right? Because Barca scored 3 goals, Atletico, right?
Yeah.
3 goals. So yeah, so you'll be shocked what can really happen on the day.
Yeah, that's true. That La Liga match that they played before the Champions League one, Atletico was at home. Barca still dealt with them.
Yeah,
La
I think
Liga
so.
match
Yeah.
before this weekend were at home.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. It also goes back to the fine margins that Joshua talks about. Hopefully, they're able to take advantage of every moment. I call them micro moments. Decisions that you take change the margins across board. Hopefully, they're able to take better decisions early enough. And see how that red card just changed the trajectory for the entire season that they've worked hard to build. So moving on to the champions. First of all, I wanted you to just weigh in on PSG versus Liverpool. I'm surprised 2 of their key players are leaving. Robertson has also said it that he'll be leaving at the end of the season. We've talked about Mohamed Salah also leaving at the end of the season. And it looks like some of those guys that, took them to a lot of glory in the last 6 to 7 years are leaving the team. The team will most likely be having a new identity going forward. But I don't want to take away
I don't know where to start from.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, I said I don't want us to just downplay the amount of effort that PSG put. Do you remember they are the defending champions? They were very apt. The way they played, it's like they came with a different kind of identity. I expected them to score a bit more than the 2 goals, but did you see those 2 goals? Those 2 goals to me were like very easy goals. See that first goal, even though there was a deflection of the defender, but that first goal too easy to go in. Second goal, it's like you just move the ball away from the front of the defender and you just put it in the net. As in, it looked like 2 easy goals. So Crespo, just give me your thoughts. So that's not only my thoughts that you know.
So first off, those are not easy goals. For anybody that plays football, to get into those positions and be so relaxed to do those things. You don't just get into opponents' boxes and you have so much space to do things.
So much space to work like that.
So I want to circle back. I don't know the team that can beat PSG.
Well,
Yet.
I know the team that did.
Chelsea, right? Okay. But they're no longer in the tournament. So
What do you think beat them now? Sporting beat them recently now.
No.
the Champions
So
League.
again,
He's talking about like in this type of game.
let's see. If you watch, I want you to go back and watch that game. Liverpool did not have a shot on goal. No, a shot on target. That's 1. 2, look at the ground covered by the PSG players. One of the analysis I listened to, they were like, did Liverpool think they were at a training session?
It might be like PlayStation, like so it's
So
Guy, go away.
No, so it's not even do it. Is
those players.
So there's, I think there's something Luis Enrique is doing to those boys that I think we all need to take a step back to study.
I learned from him.
Again, guess the league they play in is not doing justice to what they can offer, because we see them play those teams and we're like, oh, they will struggle when they come to Europe. The guys in Europe are struggling. So again, in fact, I've been speaking so sweet about PSG. Let me talk about the game. So now, again, only one team came to play, and that was PSG.
Yeah.
I don't know if Liverpool have the ability to compete at that level with PSG.
At that level, yeah. Yeah,
because it was a total outclassing of
Men v boys.
Liverpool. And again, they're so lucky. In fact, PSG gave them a lifeline.
6.
They give them a lifeline. And that is my fear with the way PSG plays. PSG plays such that even the big teams, they would spank you with high margin of goals. Look at the last Champions League final. Inter Milan, with all the strong defending and how they did so good. 5-0 in the final. It felt like, was this the practice game? So again, I think Liverpool, they are dealing with their coach. I really don't know if it's a function of the players, but I think Sørloth has he tweaked the team this season, and the team just lost it. The
he went to 3
balance
at
in
the
that
back
team.
in this game. He's never played 3 at the back. I said he went to 3 at the back against
Yeah,
He went
so-
to 3 at the back. Yeah.
Martin was
that's
He's
the
never
mistake.
played this.
So those
That
are the
was-
things
that
I'm
was so
saying.
wrong.
Like, you are tweaking the team, and the team is in shambles. So again, and you can see the way the guys that have given life and blood and sweat for Liverpool living unceremoniously. I don't know how Robertson is far poor that he can't get ahead of Kekes.
Not like Kekes has been playing well.
Exactly. And it's not like Keke. So again, Sørloth would, I see his finger all around why Liverpool is not doing too good. So let me not speak too much. I think we're looking at a very good team in PSG, and it's a team that usually they take it slow. They've understood their method of kicking into gear. They start the season slow, still winning games slow. Then they getting into this gear. This is the gear that you see them in, and you're like, you don't want to mess with PSG. So again, I don't think Liverpool has a chance in the second leg. However, they've been given a lifeline, because in football, you can never say never. Let's see and hope Liverpool will turn up and give us something else. But I think PSG or they will. And for the life of me, I think PSG might retain this title.
So they'll do it back-to-back like Madrid did back-to-back a few years ago.
I think so. Because the other teams concede. This PSG, they're not even conceding.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. But now they are going to Anfield. But I don't see Liverpool being able to hold
has
it
been
together.
poor in Anfield, so they've not given us. Again, football is never say never. Let's see what they can do at Anfield.
Exactly.
They've not been playing away, even in this Champions League. Away from England, they've been poor. So I didn't really expect much from them going into this match. Joshua, you want to chime in on this?
Yeah, I mean, again, I can't speak highly enough of PSG and Luis Enrique.
Kvaratskhelia.
Which is why, I mean, back when you remember the last time we talked about he coming to Bayern, like, what he's building in PSG and the autonomy he has, the full confidence buying of the player, he's molded those players into what the game was. It was like men v boys. It was Liverpool could not just do anything. They couldn't even get close to the ball. Like, again, you can't give what you don't have. Like, and like Crespo said, even Anna Sørloth said it, and Virgil van Dijk, that the only positive they can take from this game is that it's just 2-0.
2-0.
Because they could have easily, it should have been at least 6. Easily 6-0. The amount of grass those guys cover, the way they move, the way they play the ball, I don't think the ball stays up to 2 seconds in anyone's fluid, and the way they are so mobile, the way they are so fit, agile, moving everywhere.
Sorry, Joshua, did you see Thierry Emery? That guy, what he played? I don't know. That guy was Fabian, and oh my, those guys don't even have a chance in the French team.
They don't even have a chance in the French team, and it was. I don't know if you've seen this clip, but I saw this clip and I noticed it in the game. But I saw the clip on IG of how I've never seen any team before in my life using throw-ins as line splitting pass. There's a clip I saw of this Nuno Mendes using throwing as defense splitting pass, as though someone is playing through ball. They were not just throwing to the person in front. Like, he was throwing it so far, he was splitting the defense, and I was like,
into the line.
Into the lines, into the midfield line, bypassing the initial players. I'm like, wow. But this player, especially Luis Enrique, has taken tactics to a different game. A different level. He's the one that he won't be staying on the dugout. He will go sit in the stands, because he said that's where, if a rugby wants to see the pitch from the top. And he really loves those positional plays, and you can see that in how they play, and it's really a joy. It's really a joy to watch. I don't know
what's going on in that guy's brain.
In that guy's brain when they are clicking, and for the second leg, I think PSG are going to win, take them to the cleaners again. Liverpool would try their best, but again, they can't give what you don't have. I think PSG would take them to the cleaners, maybe not batter them, but would win comfortably and progress to the semi-final to either play Bayern or Real Madrid, which would be another interesting tie. But again, for Arne Slot, I mean, what can we say? It's been a terrible season. Not terrible. I mean, terrible in terms of because they are defending champions, and no one expected this fall off, especially how they reinvested. Usually, nobody wins the league and spends £400 million the next summer.
Yes, exactly.
So I think that's why the pressure and the challenge is on Slot and Liverpool this season, because they didn't just win the league, but you won the league, then you spend £400,000 on the team that won the league. Of course, you have to win the treble the next. £400 million on the teams. But again, that's why football is usually not 1+1. They won the league when they didn't spend 400. Now they spend 400. It's just
and they might not even make the Champions League.
You get, and they've been poor this season. And again, like I said, Robertson leaving is just. It's just now a phase where you can see these players are leaving and hoping to then rebuild Liverpool, because I think that's what they need now. These new guys have come. We're not in Liverpool when they had that run, when they were that club. So they're kind of learning again. The new guys, the established guys, are not also playing well to carry the team.
And they've gotten older too.
Van Dijk,
we've gotten older.
McAllister and Salah playing in the levels of last season. They would have carried this team through, and the new guys who've come in will be able to go, wow, this is what it means to play for Liverpool. This is the level we need to reach. But even those guys have not been able to show them the way. So a lot of them are struggling, and he's not really surprised that they are looking to phase out these old guys and rebuild.
These old guys.
Well, the question will be, would they trust Slots to carry out this rebuild? Because for all the praise he got last season winning the league, let's not forget he won into Jurgen Klopp's team and made some tweaks. So now again, it's going to be a real test of if he can build his own team and go, as we saw Klopp build his team to the pinnacle to win all of those trophies. So for me, I still think I would want them to keep him for another season at least.
So that Chelsea can beat them.
Season. No, just basically because I won the league last season. I just feel like he should have earned the right at least to try to solve the problem or try to make right his
give
wrong.
Him 5 years, I beg. We want
just one more year. Like I always say, just
let's use him to catch momentum.
If next season it doesn't improve, then sack him. But at least give the man who has won the league a chance to try to correct it. But again, I think PSG would win, and it's just a joy to watch them.
So funny that a lot of analysts are still using the word the Liverpool coach is still under pressure. That's a coach that has just won the league just last year, you know.
And the nature of the beast, how football is right now.
I'm telling you, it's... Now the problem, Emmanuel, for me is the fact that they are not starting Salah at all. You know, do you think it's a correction they need to make in their second leg? Try and maybe give him a chance to start, because there was no spark when they started this game. But what do you think generally, just to end a Champions League run?
Yeah, well, I think it was an interesting game, right? Not starting Salah, I don't know if that's the reason why they lost that game, right? I think they were poor all around, especially defensively. 3 or 5 at the back just doesn't work for Liverpool. They're not used to playing like that. They didn't play like that all when they won last season. I guess Klopp is trying to look for answers, trying to get his team motivated to do things differently. I guess just trying to find answers. I still say Liverpool's problem is that they bought wrongly during the summer. The problem is not spending the money. The problem is what they bought, right?
Yeah.
There's no balance to it.
You already had Ekitike, who has been one of their best players this season, right? Him and Sørloth, their best players this season. And then you went to spend it £125 million on Isak, who has not barely played up to 5 or 6 games this season. I mean 5 or 6 full games this season. So, and even next season too, they have a problem with those two guys. So who will they play who?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, one of them may have to sell a Kitiki at some point, because these are two top players who used to play very well in their previous club. So I don't think Kitiki wants to stay on the bench for Isak, and vice versa. So
why would you sell an Ekitike that you brought from French league?
Exactly.
It's cheaper.
It's cheaper, but cheaper is £75 million we're talking about. That's not really cheap money. £75 million, and the guy is still very young.
No,
so
I
he's
mean, relative to.
Yeah, I know.
It's like...
So that's the problem that I think Liverpool has. They didn't buy defenders. They should have bought 1 or 2 midfielders, at least defensive midfielders, to cushion the effect of Gravenberch or whoever getting out sometimes. And then defensively too, they could have gone for Maguire. They could have gone for Maguire or gone for a more experienced defender. So that's the problem that Liverpool just has. They're all over the place. The structure in that game was quite poor. And I think Crespo said it. They were lucky to continue 2 goals. Could have been 5 or 6 goals easily.
Yeah.
So Salah, I don't think Salah was a problem. Salah has been playing a lot of games this season, and he hasn't done
anything. He can't give what he doesn't have.
So I don't think playing him against them, PSG would have made any more difference, right? But then again, the first leg is done. Second leg is at Anfield. So, like as Wenger said back in the day, that second leg is not good to play at Anfield. So let's see if that spirit will be awoken on Tuesday to see Liverpool perform better than they did on Tuesday, and on Wednesday, and see what if they can score 3 goals. Because if they did it to Barca some years ago, they might use to do it to PSG. You just never know, right? All it takes is one useless red card, and that's it. And you find yourself.
Well, but not
that's the thing with this cup competition, right? You get one red card and
never
just happen to Barca.
This one we know. This Liverpool.
But this one I can put my money on PSG.
Well, yeah, I know, but you just never know, man. We don't know the future, right? So yes. When I watched that game, I was like,
benefit of doubt for that. Yeah. So
when I watched PSG, I was like, man, are these guys in this world with us? Like, are they different? Did they just come and play and go back to their world again? No? I was like, I was sure that what they were doing to Liverpool. What could be more shocked? It was just 1 goal after first half.
Yes.
Like 3 or 4 after first half, right?
Those
I
guys
was like, how come this Liverpool losing 1 goal down after all this thing that these guys have played today? And then after the second half, this is not fair to PSG.
That's why. I think our last chat, I was saying I wish Duserenke would come to Man U. I would love to see Man U play that way. Damn.
Because it's like that, that's the school of even 2015 MSN Barca. Like,
yeah, that was his team.
Yeah.
Like, I always chop. They are never, and he has a team in PSG that none of them has got the big ego to compete with him.
Yeah.
Due might not start the next game. He will play Mayulu. Dembele is his only problem, and Dembele too. They have a striker, Ramos. That guy
Okay, Ramos, that's the Portuguese guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
He hardly kicks the ball. He scores, but he will not. Yeah, he will not play.
His time will come now. That's small.
He doesn't like a traditional number 9.
That's the thing.
Enrique doesn't like number 9 because of how he plays. He wants that 1-3 to be so
fluid. Spanish coach like
fluid.
Players that can play everywhere, right?
He likes that his front 3 to be so fluid and mobile that that's why
Bakola did not play. Did Bakola play? Bakola did not play.
No, I don't think Bakola played.
Bakola. No,
he did not play.
He didn't play, right? No, he didn't play.
He didn't play.
He's injured.
He has
My
a lot of young
days.
guys.
A lot of young
Those
guys,
are
and those guys have speed, man. Those guys have a god.
There's
It's
even
just
this
like when
there's this young
Iniesta was
Senegalese.
still less than 30.
There's a young Senegalese boy in that team. He played in the Nations Cup, but he's not had a chance to even play in this PSG team. And the boy is so good.
So
Those boys are looking for just 10 minutes to show coach. Damn.
Liverpool have not done themselves any favors this season at all. I
At
see the
all,
problem
at
they
all.
have is not buying well in the summer. That's me say that they have bought 1 or 2 defenders and 1 or 2 midfielders. They'd have been better off, I believe.
Yeah.
But then let's see. Like I said, anything can happen at Anfield, right? Anything can happen at Anfield, even though they lost to City at Anfield recently, right? But let's see how it goes.
I also think selling Diaz was a no-brainer. Luis Diaz, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Because you know the problem with Diaz was that he wanted more money, right? He wanted a bigger contract, more money. That's man.
Well, you're paying somebody 150 million from Newcastle to do what?
Exactly.
Yeah, and also I just think like it's
to be fair, and so what is he doing at Bayern Munich? They shouldn't have let him go. I agree. They should have kept Diaz. They shouldn't have bought Isak. They should have left Ekitike and Diaz to be, right? That's all they needed. They needed
that's
to sell.
what done.
Yeah,
also because of the tragedy that happened to Jota, is why they even really needed to keep Diaz.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, all this thing, like, again, like for me, it's in hindsight, because when I looked at all the transfers they did, like in the summer too, I feel like, okay, Liverpool, like they've improved the team. Like this looked like good signing. I mean, on paper.
I knew.
People said, why Ekitike and Isak? Why chase Isak for that long?
Because you bought Ekitike. I said it was your first team striker.
But no, nobody knew. I mean, we didn't know Ekitike would hit the ground running. I mean, if we were to choose Isak or Ekitike, Isak was always going to.
So again, my point is buy one. You can't buy 2 of them. And none of them is a 10. None of them can play 8.
Exactly. None of them can play other wings. They can only play that number 9.
Yeah.
You look at it this way, if a team like a club like maybe Arsenal buys Ekitike and Isak becomes available, they just can buy Isak. They will not do it. No matter how good Isak is, they wouldn't buy 2 of those players in the same position. Because you need a backup striker and your first team striker.
Yeah.
Who will back up right now?
No, because Ekitike came in first before Isak was an afterthought.
Isak was the transfer target of the summer.
No, but when they went for Isak,
Isak was already having problems in Newcastle. If that transaction did not materialize, there would have been problem.
Yeah.
Because he was already having issues in Newcastle already.
That's Isak, right?
Isak, there were already problems where they were sitting him there, like he's not.
I believe that if the window had closed and they moved to Liverpool, they would have settled their problem. They would have settled. This is we are talking about mature. They would have settled, right?
They would have settled.
I believe that after you bought Ekitike and promised him first team football, buying Isak already creating that conflict between Ekitike and Isak. And if you watch the first 2 games when Isak came around, there's some games where Ekitike was clearly upset on the pitch. I think there was a Carabao Cup game he played when he got a red card. I don't know if you remember that game he played. Silly fouls. Like, how can the professional footballer be committing this kind of foul? The first one, he hit the ball away. Second time, he knew he had a red card. He went to pull his jersey after scoring a goal. Yeah, someone has to get what are you doing? You know what? So that's the thing, right? When you buy this up, you buy someone for £75 million and then you now buy Isak. I know that was.
So I don't have a problem with buying Isak and buying Ekitike. If you're not sure Ekitike will gel, blah blah blah, do not sell Luis Diaz. That guy again. One guy was even saying, if you're going to go for Isak, leave Nunes. So again, the things that worked for Ernesto last season, he felt he played down on it. And I always say something. There are some players that give you 1001%. They might not score the goal, but they will chase after every ball. He sold his biggest runners. Nunes would chase even the defender into the net.
Me personally, I didn't like this.
No, because he's not scoring.
No, but the work was good for the team. It's not something.
The work rate.
He works.
Because the as a number 9 to score.
That guy was a runner.
He's not like
Luis Diaz would chase that defender till that defender makes that error and pass into his own net.
Yeah.
Well, Gakpo, what does Gakpo do now? We just be cutting. We want to cut everybody. Cut left. Cut right.
He's a knife cutter.
Also cuts everything.
See, Luis Diaz. This is best season ever. Scoring goals front, back, and center. Look at
just. I mean, for them, they thought like profit and loss. Like they will buy this young guy, but if Diaz doesn't want to renew, they would rather sell him for 60 or how much they sell him now than lose him on a free next summer. So again.
And
Business
so now
decision.
the Champions League is not sure.
Yeah, they'll cut. I mean, they're cutting their losses.
But what do you guys
Let's see
Yeah.
what.
Big time.
Bayern and PSG?
I want to see Bayern PSG.
So
I
for
think
me,
PSG will win.
again, Bayern they
That'll be a
concede.
tough one.
Bayern
Because
concedes goals.
Bayern cannot defend like PSG.
Nah, PSG is solid though. With those
See,
young
guy.
guys. The Emery guy you're talking about, he just clocked 20 last month.
The-
You guys see us part room.
He's just 20 years. He was born 2006.
those
But that's what
boys
I want to
are
watch. PSG Bayern. I
And,
think it will be a very
as in
sweet
those
game.
boys
boys
are playing at a very high level now.
It will be a
Seriously.
sweet game. Because
Whoever
Bayern's front
wins-
three, Diaz,
whoever
Kane,
wins-
Olise.
But guess what?
Mm.
These guys defend PSG. Mendes, I'm not sure. I don't know anybody that can take on Mendes easily. Yamal
Mm.
struggled.
He
He
struggled
did not
in
last
Euros
season.
last
In
year.
Euros everywhere. Mendes, Macham.
Now
I
Mendes
don't
is so
know
good.
who is going to take on the right.
Because of how they defend
Hakimi.
from the front, like
I don't know also who will take Hakimi to the cleaners because if
they
he's to
hunt
run,
people
Hakimi
in
can run
parts. Like
wingers.
they hunt you like you stole something from them.
No. There was one opportunity they had. Hakimi and Mendes. Can you imagine the right
Yeah.
left back were the ones in the 18
Wait, he square play to that was
to
at the
Mendes.
end of the game. He square play to
Mhm.
Mendes.
And those guys have a
Flying-
lot of strength and they run back. Oh.
Flying.
I see.
run back.
No.
They run back. They're very
I say,
fit.
oh boy, now man, you get Dalo and what's
Sure.
that other one name? No, sure. Our number 2, Mazari. Oh.
No,
Don't worry.
what's his name? I
Arsenal
forget.
will beat PSG. Don't worry.
They know me.
this,
The
don't
2
worry.
right backs we think say we get Mazubi
Okay.
and
The guy from Morocco.
I say, wow, there's problem.
Don't worry. Arsenal will beat PSG for this season. Don't worry. Crespo, I believe.
See, my own is don't concede against PSG if you want to
Exactly.
survive. If you can drag them to a very tight corner, yes. But if they begin to score, you can't score those boys because even when they are, most times when teams concede, they allow the opponents the ball. When they score is when they even want to have the ball more.
They
So
want to
you
score more.
concede, and you're not thinking of I don't want to concede more against PSG. So anybody and that's what Chelsea did in the Club World Cup. Once they scored PSG wanted to come back. They scored another one. Like say today it's not working. So
That's
you
what
must.
Arsenal will-
Yeah, if you have to do it.
In the
You have to do
finals,
it, though.
deal with them in the finals.
Okay.
I like Emmanuel's confidence. Really.
No, we
Yeah.
have to. We have to take their place.
The confidence is addictive.
French
I'm
mission.
getting
Again,
addicted
for
to
last
it.
season. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, I think we've done above 2 hours. I mean, above 1 hour rather. We've had a lot of wonderful, areas to really talk about. Very early tomorrow morning, Mountain Standard Time, Arsenal will be taking on Bournemouth. The title race continues for them. They give themselves a chance to keep fighting with a 9 points difference. From ratings, it looks like Arsenal has the 5th easiest remaining schedule. 5 of their 7 opponents are bottom half of the team. So when we're talking about a pathway to getting this done, they have a better way compared to Man City. Man City has the 7th most difficult pathway to get it within an April, I think it's an April 19th clash with Arsenal, and that's an effective 6-point swing for them. I think Man City just has a way of getting Arsenal generally. But looking at it, for me on the strategic interpretation, it looks like the top is a bit more predictable than the bottom. Now, if you look at the bottom, you can see
West
clearly
Ham
that
winning.
there's still going to be some dogfights. So it's only Wolves and Burnley that have 99% probability that they are gone effectively. West Ham has a 58% chance of relegation. And they have the hardest remaining fixture. They may just collapse with the teams that they'll be playing. Tottenham has sacked their coach again. I guess we didn't get to talk about it. New coach they just brought in, they sacked him again. So, but they have a 26.2% chance of surviving. Let's still see. This inconsistency kind of just keeps them in that danger.
Yeah, I think they're in the
zone.
relegation zone now because West Ham won today.
Yeah, West Ham won
Yeah,
today.
today, and they've dropped to
West
18.
Ham is able to fight, really. I like the way they are really fighting, but hopefully Nottingham too is more of like they have some difficult fixtures too as well, so I'm a bit worried about them. Leeds has an easy run in, so Leeds will definitely be fine. But strategically, I'm looking forward to see how these games look like. Because of our time out, I wanted us to talk a little bit about some of the economic boost that they are expecting from the World Cup preparation that is not really coming towards the US. And hopefully we're able to talk about it next week. There was a 30.5 billion economic boost for the World Cup to bring into North America. But it looks as if a lot of people are resistant about coming to the World Cup. And I think we've talked about it a couple of times. The US travel friction, the tournament model. Now they are saying Iran, even though they have qualified for the World Cup, but they want to move their matches to Mexico. How would US react if they know that Iran is playing in Mexico just beside us? So a lot of things are just jumping up there. Thank you very much, guys, for spending some time with me. Just like we like to, bring our opinions in an unfiltered way. Thank you for, pushing the right narratives and having it hot, just the way we like it. At least we've been able to spend like 1 hour, which is productive time, and we're above by 5 minutes. I say today's a good day. Take a chance and be very amazing. Thank you, guys, and enjoy the rest of the day. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.